look, same old Jets is tough, right? I am, if I was advising head coaches of the New York Jets, I would say do not ever utter that phrase. Nothing good comes of you saying that until you win the Super Bowl.
Hello and welcome to Gangs All Here. My name is Ryan Sampson, the host and producer of the show. That's our Jets beat writer, Brian Costello. Today is Tuesday, September 23rd. The New York Jets are coming off a tough, heartbreaking loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 29-27. They start the season 0-3. We're here to talk to Coz about his takeaways from this game and just overall what his sense is going on with this Jets team. Obviously not the start that they were hoping for. We're here to break it all down. But before we get to any of that, I want to ask Coz, as always, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. How are you? You sound sick, Ryan.
I was battling a little bit of a cold over the weekend, but I'm getting on the other side of it. So I'm
All right.
this Jets team is making me a little sick right now. Clearly,
The Jets flew.
the Jets flew right. So look, Kaz, I always want to hear your take. I have my opinions, but you've seen this team up close and personal. You're in the locker room. You get the vibe more what this team is going through right now. What was your sense of watching Sunday? Is this a tough loss for them? Were they really in this game? What was your overall sense for this?
Yeah, I mean, look, they had the lead with a minute and 49 left. So whatever you want to say, like, look, they played terribly. Three quarters was awful, but they showed up in the fourth quarter and they played well. And I thought that was a sign of progress because I was sitting there in the third quarter thinking, okay, this is going to end up being 35 to 10.
Mm,
I was hoping for 34-13, which is what I predicted. I was rooting for that score to come in. But yeah, it felt like it was heading that way. And we've seen that so many times where that's the case, where they're just non-competitive and like last week against Buffalo. But I thought they showed something in the fourth quarter. And yes, the Buccaneers clearly took their foot off the gas. They relaxed at 23-6, but that's part of the game. That's part of sports. And they took advantage of it. So I don't think you could take away from that. Um, the flip side, and I wrote this today, is the biggest problem right, right with like the Jets right now to me is you're I'm sure Ryan, wherever you were watching the
yeah.
game, eating your nachos and drinking your beers or whatever you were doing during the game.
Sober September for
That
me, my friend. No beer this month.
okay. That when Will McDonald blocks that kick
Oh,
and returns that field goal, you're jumping up and down, you're screaming your lungs out, you're pumping your fist, you're dancing like Aaron Glenn, and then it was probably a second where you go, how much time is left? And you looked at the clock and you saw a minute 49 and you said, they're gonna lose. They're going to lose. And every Jets fan said that. And that's the problem, is because you've seen it so many times where this defense can't get a stop when they need to get a stop. And I don't think there was any, there was no doubt in my mind that they were going to be able to kick a field goal, that the Bucs were going to be in a position to kick a field goal. So that's got to change, right? Like, I
yeah.
feel like you watch the Eagles right now, and the Eagles have this mojo of like, whatever happens, they're going to win the game, you know? And the Jets have this mojo, whatever happens, they're going to lose the game, like if it's close like that. So to me, that's, Aaron Glenn, so we got to get over the hump. That's the
Hmm.
hump. And, we can break down everything. I'm sure we are. We're going to break
Yeah.
down offense, defense, everything else. The bottom line is if they had won that game, you wouldn't have given a crap
100%.
about Tyrod Taylor missing receivers or, Michael Clemons getting blocked on the core. Like, it wouldn't have given any crap. Anything. They would have won the game. But they didn't. So they're 0-3. And, I think some context is important here. They've lost to three teams that were in the playoffs last year. Bills might be the best, one of the two or three best teams in football. Bucs are damn good. They were banged up, and the Jets didn't take advantage of
They
it,
were
but they are
very
a damn
banged
good
up.
team.
Yeah.
They're very banged up, but they're a good football team that's won a lot of games in the last 6 years, whatever, whenever Tom Brady showed up. Like, they've won a lot of football games. They know how to win. They've got that DNA right now. So I do think context matters. And we can get into the Dolphins at some point, but that's a team in the Jets weight class,
Yeah.
right? This is a different. No more. We're playing a good team. This week the Dolphins stink, so the Jets have to look different against the Dolphins.
So that was a lot there, Kaz. So I agree with you in the context part, right? Like there's a lot of context to add when you're looking at a bird's eye view of what this game really was. Uh, I saw a crazy stat. I think it was yesterday or today that the Jets have 5 losses from last year even into this year. 5 losses where they took the lead with 2 minutes or less to go in the game, and they blew that lead and they lost the game every single time in those five.
Yeah.
And that's the most in the NFL by a wide margin.
It's hard to do that many times, but that's what I'm
Right.
talking about, right? Did you have that moment, Ryan, when you looked
Oh
and saw
yeah.
one
Cause I
149?
knew right away that this Jets team couldn't make a stop if they tried
Yeah.
because of this, right? The stat is there, but
Yeah.
also I've seen it now repeatedly. So this is
Right.
where I want to add more context to the coach, right? Like I don't honestly, I think the dancing on the sideline is awesome. First off, I thought that was hilarious, and the memes that have come out of it are amazing. And I think it's great to see emotion from Aaron Glenn, and I think people overreacting to that need to find something else to talk about. The other thing, though, is what he talked about after the game. That's what I do care about. When he said that this isn't the same old Jets, I'm tired of that narrative. I don't even understand what that means. That's what he said.
Yeah.
This is the same old Jets, though, because it's, I believe, 8 or 9 of the 11 starters on defense, and you didn't make another stop on defense late in the game when you needed to. And that narrative is still going to be there that this defense just cannot come up in the clutch, whether it's causing a turnover, sacking the quarterback in key situations, or making a big stop when they needed to at the end. Do you agree with that assessment?
Look, same old Jets is tough, right? And I am, if I was advising head coaches of the New York Jets, I would say do not ever utter that phrase. Nothing good comes of you saying that until you win the Super Bowl, right? Or even when Rex could do it when they win the playoffs. Like if you go on a playoff run and get to the championship game, go ahead. We're not the same old Jets. That's
Sure.
fine. You can't say it when you're 0-3, like because you guys have seen it. And I am surprised. I thought Aaron Glenn would have a better feel for you guys than he does. As a guy who played here and was a scout here, and just he doesn't he's not hitting the right notes in these press conferences, I think. But his audience is the locker room, honestly, not you. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe this does help with the locker room. But yeah, same old Jets. I'm not gonna go there right now because it's 3 games, right? Right. So I do think this is a tough task that he was given. They won 5 games last year. There was a lot of cleanup to do. He was playing with a backup quarterback. So, but that's not going to last forever. And I think this season is about do they close games out like this in December, even if they're going nowhere? Can they get to a point where you're in November and December, and you feel good about the way they're playing? Because then they're gonna have a lot of money in free agency. They're probably gonna have a good draft pick. Like Glenn and Muji are gonna have an offseason to have assessed everyone, figure out what they need, and come back next year and do better. So I hate to already be turning the page to 2026, but I do think to me this season now is about can they not look like what we've seen these 3 weeks, or especially the last 2 weeks? Can we not see that in December? Can they look better then?
I hear you, and I think that's a very level-headed take on this. I guess the more I want to ask you about is defensively, the narrative is starting to develop around Steve Wilks, and it feels like,
Yeah.
you know, look, his narrative on him and in his previous runs with San Francisco, Carolina, where he cut Baker Mayfield, whatever you want to say about Steve Wilks, right now, this Jets defense doesn't look good, and it's been giving up a
Yeah.
lot of points in the first 3 games of the season. So is it as simple as I think we as fans and maybe media overvalued what these players really were heading into another year, or is there real concern that Steve Wilks is not getting the most out of this Jets defense?
I think both can be true. Right. I do think there's players who were overvalued. I mean, um, I'm not sure Jamie Sherwood is a $15 million a year player, right? God bless him that he got that money, but I think he kind of was able to capitalize on a good situation here. Um, I think Quinnen is all world, and I think he's playing like that. So I'm not gonna. I mean, I think any defensive discussion, you sort of got to take Quinnen and remove him because he's the one guy that has shown up and played his ass off. So I think he deserves a credit for that. But yeah, some of the other guys, Sauce hasn't played well. I thought he played well the first week, but he hasn't played well these last 2 weeks. There's major tackling issues, and it's not always like missed tackles. It's like pursuit angles
Oh yeah,
stink. Yeah, like there was that one play.
against
Who
Bucky
was it?
Irving,
Was it Irving where he cuts it
25
back
yards.
and the entire team is is over there. Like, and I don't. That's just bad football. So I think that's a combination of players and coaching, right? That's both like that's both things there. The players are the ones not executing, but you're either coaching it or allowing it to happen is the old coaching phrase. And so Wilkes has not gotten off to a good start. I think it's too early to like be like, oh, he's got to go or any of that stuff. He's
No,
got,
yeah.
he has to figure it out. But I will say, we're always looking at the Detroit model,
Hmm.
right? What they did in Detroit. The Detroit was 3-13-1 in the Dan Campbell's first year, and Anthony Lynn got fired as the offensive coordinator. Anthony Lynn was the offensive coordinator there, and Ben Johnson got promoted in 2022. So it did happen. There could be a scapegoat at the end of the season, and Wilkes right now looks like the guy that could be that one, but we're far off from that. He has time to turn this around. Remember Jeff Ulbrich, year one was a tough time. Difference for me between 2021 and this one is 2021 they were playing a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
They did not have much talent on that team.
Talk about the
So
actual equity and investment they put in this defense in terms of
yeah,
Sherwood that you just talked about. Quinn Williams obviously was paid. Jermaine's a first-round pick. Will McDonald's a first-round pick. They gave a lot of money to Brandon Stevens. They signed Andre
yep.
Sisco. Like this is
Sauce got a lot of money.
Like this is
Yep.
all the investment they put in this defense, and I think we all expected a much better performance from this defense to this point. I did hear a theory, and I wanted to throw this at you about this defense. There's an evaluation, right, for Glenn and Muji about what this defense, the pieces, right, that were already there. It's a lot of carryover. I wonder if the pieces there fit Robert Saleh's defense more, which is a different scheme from Steve Wilks. And
Yeah.
perhaps this is a huge adjustment period for the defensive pieces that are there. And I wonder if they're realizing these guys don't fit what we really want to do.
So I kind of hate that idea,
Okay.
Ryan.
Yeah, yeah.
And who was the guy that broadcasted the game Sunday?
It was Vilma. Jonathan Vilma.
Jonathan Vilma,
Yeah.
right? Jonathan Vilma was a really, really, really good linebacker.
Amazing
And Eric
defense
Mangini is like, oh, I can't use him in my defense. And that to me was like, okay. And then Vilma was awesome for New Orleans. Like, that's bad coaching to me. Like, that guy's a good football player. Figure it out. The only position where I feel like that's a thing is outside linebacker / defensive end, 3-4 versus 4-3. Like, those are different positions. I do think that it can apply there. But other than that, like, I don't know. I think if you're a defensive tackle or you're a cornerback or a safety or a linebacker, like, coach has got to figure it out. Like, put them in the right position, change your defense if it's not working, right? Like, it's so yeah, I'm not buying that one
Okay.
so much. And I do feel like this defense is not that drastically different than Salah's either. I haven't seen anything where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so much different. They blitz more, but even that hasn't been a crazy amount more that I was kind of expecting.
They
So
played more zone, I feel like, too, in certain situations there. I've questioned, I think it was
yeah,
3rd and 9. Do you remember this when Sherwood drops in zone and Michael Carter's playing 10, 12 yards off, even though he looks like he's in man, but Sherwood drops back in zone. And Emeka Ibuka, it was the easiest pitch and catch on 3rd and 9 from
yeah,
Baker to him. And I'm going, why is Sherwood floating there? Has no idea where he has sense on the field, where the ball's going. And why is Michael Carter playing 10 yards off when it's 3rd and 9? Like, wouldn't you want to be more aggressive there? And this was them driving towards the red zone. I felt like
yeah,
there's something off here, man. I don't get it. I really don't.
yeah. I mean, I think there's always gonna be growing pains at the beginning of the season with a new coaching staff. I didn't expect it on defense as much as offense though, just because there are so many returning pieces and Wilkes is a veteran coach. So, but yeah, has not been good. That's for sure. And the bottom line is the points allowed.
Yeah.
It's been a crazy amount of points allowed. And the other thing that's mystifying, Ryan, is just why they cannot get a takeaway. Like,
Ball's on the
like there's
ground
a
for
fumble.
Baker, and they can't hop on it, man.
Yeah, I talked to Harrison Phillips for after the game, and he's just like, sometimes the ball just doesn't bounce your way. I'm like, it hasn't bounced the Jets' way forever. It's been a long time. So, yeah, they just cannot get a takeaway. And, and we're flipping over to the offense. The offense needs a short field, right? Like this offense is now scoring. It's 10 plays, 11 plays, 12 plays. Like they have no quick strike ability. And then the defense isn't giving them the ball on the opponent's 30 where they can just get an easy score. So it's all kind of playing off of each other right now.
Totally. They're not playing complimentary football whatsoever
No,
right now.
this is This is whatever. What's the opposite of complimentary football?
Oof. I mean, dysfunctional. That's what
Insulting football.
insulting football. So look, the one thing before we go to the offensive side, I got to ask you about this because this was the topic of the show last week. Michael Clemons, was he quietly benched in the second half until the fourth quarter? And then, of course, it just goes his way, getting manhandled by the tight end there on the Baker 30-yard scramble.
Yeah.
This guy's going through it right now. It feels, again, I'll compare it. It feels like the Anthony Volpe ball finds you in the worst moments. This is Michael Clemons getting caught up in the worst moments here. And by the way, that really wasn't even a face mask personal foul penalty.
No, it wasn't. It looked like he got his jersey. Yeah, that wasn't a great call. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know if he was quietly benched, Ryan. I'll say this: it was hotter than anything I've ever experienced in my life. There, I think the Fox had 130 degrees on the field at one point, and I saw one of the Jets website cameraman guys, like cameraman after the game, and his arms were cramped. Like he just completely cramped up, and he was shooting the game. He was like, you saw the people that walked off the field, not the players, and they were just soaked. Like they sweat so much. So I can't even imagine playing football in that. So was Clemens getting a rest? Like was he tired? I don't think they were benching him. I just don't think that was happening. But yeah, he got caught, on that play. He went inside and got turned. He's not playing well. And the problem is he's playing so much.
Yeah.
And that's the fault of the front office and Aaron Glenn of, not getting more depth at defensive end because they really needed it. Because now Jermaine, I don't know how long Jermaine is out. We'll see. We haven't talked to Aaron Glenn. Didn't have any updates when we talked to him Monday. We probably won't find out till Thursday this week because it's a Monday night game where guys are at. So, but they do not need Michael Clemens on the field that much.
It's tough, man. All right, let's flip to the offensive side of the ball. So look, Tyrod Taylor, I actually thought at first I was like, you know what, he's being tough in there. He took a lot of shots early on in that game, and he delivered the ball. I keep looking back at that third down throw to Garrett on the quick slant, stands in the pocket, takes an absolute shot.
Yep.
But overall, your assessment on Tyrod, I agree with you. They backed off a lot defensively from the Bucs standpoint. Late in that game. But what was your assessment of Tyrod and the way he played?
Yeah, overall, kind of what I expected. He played like a backup quarterback. He had some moments. He's amazing how he stands in there. There was 3 or 4 of those plays, Ryan, where I'm like, how did he take that hit and complete the pass? So that was impressive. But I think it is what it is with Tyrod. Like you're gonna get what you got Sunday for the most part. I think it's gonna be up and down and. There was no real explosiveness to the offense. And then when they blitzed, the Jets had no answer for the blitzes. And I'm not sure if that's Tyrod or Engstrand or what, but it was not good.
So I watched the All-22 yesterday, and it was pretty much the same blitz Bowles was running. It was on the left side, right in between Fashanu and Simpson. So they clearly had that scouted up right, and the communication was not working well between those two. I think Isaiah Davis went the wrong way a couple times. Braylon Allen was trying to pick up the blitz, but they were just overwhelming that left side of the offensive line. And I know Fashanu did not have a great day, and that goes into my other part of the offensive line. Ever since game 1 where they manhandled the Steelers, it really hasn't been a good go of him, and they have not been able to establish the run game or the passing game really effectively. Is this just part of the growing pains for a young offensive line, or is this just kind of what they are?
I mean, I think we talked about it maybe in the summer. I thought people were getting a little carried away with this offensive line. Like they have great potential. Most of them have done nothing in the NFL, right? So you have a rookie tackle who has played excellent. He's done great. But you have a second-year tackle, and then AVT was part of the equation at the time we were talking about, and Tippmann, so Simpson's been around a little bit, but none of them, it's not like you have guys with 4 Pro Bowls all over the place. So I thought that got a little overstated in the summer, how great this offensive line was going to be. And then they lose AVT, which you can't forget. It was a big loss. So Fashanu has not played great so far. I think he's going through it a little bit. But again, it's his second season. So I would watch the offensive line to get better and better as the season goes on. If they don't, I think that would be a disappointment. If they can stay healthy and this group can stay together, I think they can. They like I said, to me, it was potential was the word with them, and I think they have a lot of potential, but they've got to play. They got to learn how to play together.
Yeah, and then look, the running game was not there again.
Yeah,
I don't know, guys. Brees touched the ball, I think, 13 times total in the game, maybe 12, 9 carries. I feel like they're not getting him involved enough in the passing game for sure. You know,
yeah,
I wonder if Engstrand again is still trying to feel it out, but clearly they're still messing with the rotation because you did see Braylon come in there for a series. Isaiah Davis was in there a lot, I think, in passing game situations. I just wonder,
yeah.
like, because look, Tyler Johnson drops that ball on third down, which was brutal, right? Like
Brutal job.
Tyrod, perfect pass to him. And clearly the Jets don't have a second receiver. And we talked about with Brees Hall, like, can they get him
Yeah,
more involved, line up in the slot as a receiver? Is
yeah.
Are they like what's Angstran like? Can they fix this? Can they get him involved more?
They can fix it. I think this one I'm just looking up the stats right now because Brees is your second leading receiver, Ryan,
Right.
with 8 catches. Garrett has 21 catches. Brees has 8. So, yeah, I'm surprised they haven't done more with him in the passing game. I'm surprised they haven't split him out a little bit, try to do that. Like, clearly there was an effort to get Braylon Allen more involved this week after he was invisible against Buffalo. Put them both out there. That's
Yeah.
my thing. Is like I almost think like this not having a second receiver, if you're the coordinator now, you can spin it to be like a little. You got to be creative with your personnel packages, and I would be playing Braylon and Brees together sometimes, and maybe one of them split out, or just. I think this is going to require creativity because you don't have the horses at receiver. So yeah, they can fix it. Obviously, it's only 3 games, but I am surprised that Brees has not had more success passing and then running. He had 21 yards Sunday, and 17 of them came on one carry. It's weird. I don't understand why they haven't been able to run the ball better.
It's puzzling for sure, considering how talented these running backs really are, and I just wish I don't know. It felt like they got away from what they were trying to do with Justin, right, at quarterback. Like obviously they weren't going to run the read option with Tyrod Taylor because he's not a fit for
Yeah,
that type of offense. But you could still try and scheme up running the ball with these two guys,
yeah.
and they just
They
aren't being effective.
I think they came out throwing because
Yeah,
even the first drive was like 7 pass plays, I think, because it ended up Tyrod ran a few of them, so they didn't end up being passes, but they were called passes. I think 7 out of 10 plays were passes. So maybe the Tampa Vita Vea and Levante David and that front line scared them a little bit to run the ball. I'm not sure, but it looked like the game plan was to come out throwing, which that's the old like do you just line up and do what you do, or do you try to game plan for the opponent? Um, but yeah, it's something was off completely in the running game.
finally, looking forward, I know we don't know yet. Do you think Justin Fields could potentially make his return this week against the Dolphins?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, it's hard to predict concussions. I don't know where he is in the protocol. I know Friday when I was at the facility, I didn't see him. Like I didn't see him in the locker room. I didn't see him. He wasn't standing out in the practice field. Sometimes that's a clue that guys are like close, if they're just around. I haven't seen him, but they got an extra day so we'll see where he is Thursday if he can get out in the field. I think if you see him on the field, even in a limited role Thursday, that's a good sign for Monday.
Yeah, look, Kaz, we appreciate you, man, for coming on here and giving us your takeaways about this game. And I think overall, man, like I know you said like it's the evaluation right of this team. It's just
Yeah,
it's frustrating, like we said at the
yeah.
beginning of this, to watch this and keep finding ways to lose games. And yeah, maybe we'll
Here's
go
here's
ahead.
the issue. Here's the issue that I see right now between Aaron Glenn and the Jets fans. For Aaron Glenn, it's been 3 games. For Jets fans, it's 15 years. You've watched this. Like Aaron Glenn wasn't here when Anthony Richardson marched down the field last November. Aaron Glenn wasn't here when Devontae Adams went out of bounds in Miami and left the Dolphins 52 seconds to come down and score. Aaron Glenn wasn't here when the team was blowing leads under Todd Bowles, when the team was blowing leads on did they blow leads under Adam Gase or just lost a lot of games under Adam Gase? But they blew leads under Saleh. Like, yeah, like he wasn't here when Denver kicked the field goal last year in the rain. Like, you guys have scars. Like, there's scars and scars and scars, and like he's been here for 3 games, and that's always a tough thing, and it's getting worse and worse as the years go on. But I've always felt like that's a really difficult thing, and I thought Quinnen after the game saying, you could look up and be 0-10. That's a scar a player has, right? That was like, oh, I was like, oh, the locker room has, because that's another problem for him is the locker room has scars. They have lived, a lot of them have lived through all this from the last few years, and so he's got to nip that in the bud and make sure that there's not a mentality of like, oh, here we go again.
Is that
It's gonna
why
be
he's
another
being?
one of those years.
Well, do you feel like
Is
that's
that
why he's been ultra positive, I guess, in the post game to try and lift these guys in the locker room?
maybe? I mean, I do think he felt good about the way they fought in the fourth quarter. Coaches love that, right? Like
Yeah.
coaches love that. So I do think he felt good about that. Um, but yeah, it could be that he was trying to send that message.
It's just, yeah. All right, we'll see. Be competitive against the Dolphins for all 4 quarters instead of just the fourth quarter. That's what I'm asking for. Like, just
I think you can ask for a win this week, Ryan.
I'm not
I don't
asking
think
for
this.
a
I
win
think this.
because clearly you guys are saying to me, not you, but like it feels like the messaging around here is that this Jets team and roster was worse than we all evaluated them originally,
Yeah,
and,
well,
and
so
that
could
he's
be
really
that
proud
could.
of the effort that we're getting.
So one thing that always happens is when a new regime comes in, they blame the old regime. Right? I didn't have enough father. You wouldn't believe what I inherited here. It's very much like the presidents. They always blame the last president for
Mm-hmm.
everything. The new coaches always blame the last coach. The new GM always blames the last GM. Like that's a tradition unlike any other. So yeah, there's probably some of that going on. But like the Dolphins are reeling. The Jets should be able to go in there and get a win, and they need you got to get a win. You got like it's great to feel good about stuff, but like you do have to win, and even to validate what you're preaching, like you got to win. So I think you guys can ask for a win this week. I don't think that's too much, Ryan.
We'll see if they can actually stop Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill and that Dolphins offense. We'll see. Mr. Brian Costello, we appreciate you as always. We're looking forward to talking to you again later this week about previewing this game. But until next time, man, enjoy the day here, and I don't know, enjoy Ryder Cup, whatever else you can watch besides right now with this Jets team.
Are the Mets going to make the playoffs, Ryan?
Oh,
That's the
man.
question that's on my mind.
I feel bad for my in-laws. They're diehard Mets fans. They're getting killed right now. I'm a Yankees fan.
Okay, well, yeah, I felt bad for the Mets Jets combo fan on
Yes.
Sunday. Like that, I learned later that happened within like seconds of each other. But,
Brutal time right now. But Coz, we appreciate you, man. We'll talk to you next time. All right.
All right, see you, Ryan.